Hey everyone, this is Quakeman. I'm sorry if my camera can't really see me very well. I do not have a tripod, which is kind of disappointing for the fact that I've had this camera for about 5 years. So, I want to talk about a few things for right now. Now, I know the title is probably not going to make any sense because Ubisoft, DICE and EA have confirmed that Mirror's Edge 2 has been canceled for the fact of Battlefield 3 and another project they're not going to give out. So, even though it's canceled, I still have concerns over the fact of what the sequel would be. I actually have written down a lot of stuff that's on my mind about this because to me Mirror's Edge was very impressive. It was a nice start to a new idea. But there's too many questions that needed to be answered, and they didn't answer that. They didn't add any more sort of DLC for a story mode, which is disappointing, and the time trials do get kind of boring after you beat your high score over and over and gotten all the achievements, but the story mode I still like to play over and over. So I wanted to get myself some topics I wrote down to get myself into. The first thing I want to talk about is more background on the runners, Merc, Cell, and Faith. So in the game, the only character you know of at the time was Faith when the trailer comes out, and then you have a communication with someone named Merc, who apparently is like your overseer type of person. I don't know exactly what you call him. He's like the guy that that stays at the computer and gives you directions on where to go. Cell was kind of like your friend, I guess it was to Faith. Then there was two other characters you knew about in the game, and there was a picture of them during one of the missions when you find out that the, sorry if no one has played the game, but spoilers, when you find out that Project Icarus was a way to get rid of the runners, but that was planned by Jackknife, which kind of was an impressive conspiracy theory if you think about it. So, you see pictures for two other runners by the name of Drake and Krieg. Now, you met Krieg once, and then you only got conversation with Drake at another point. And it's kind of weird because when you watch the introduction, they talk about the runners being on the edge, the gloss, and all that stuff, and it makes you wonder if how many other people are runners in there. Because all you saw was Cell, Merc, Drake, and Krieg. And then there's Faith. That's only 5. And based on the story that it was given to you as the introduction before your training mission, it sounded like there was more. There was a lot more into it. So, you know, that's something that needs to be explained. If you guys ever do make a sequel, I would really like to see a more story background behind Faith. Because they do talk about how she was trained under Merc. I would love to see some sort of animation or gameplay for that. That would be amazing to see. I would also like to see maybe some missions revolving around Merc and how he is. I want an understanding of how Cell, Drake, and Krieg was. If there's any other runners. Also, I want an understanding of what the runners do. Because all we know is that they run and deliver messages for clients that apparently get criminalized. That wasn't really explained very well in the game. The prologue mission was probably the only time you ever had to toss that bag over. After that, it was all based on a background story to get rid of the runners that was involving pretty much Faith's sister, Kate, and the unused and the runner that's no longer a runner, Jackknife. So there's a lot of questions going around of wondering where did things come from and how did it get to it today. So that's something I really want to see. Is that I don't want to see just another sequel, another thing that you did in Mirror's Edge. I would like to see a more interesting background between the runners, Faith, and everyone else. The first Mirror's Edge was pretty much Faith's story, but I would love to see maybe Merc's story or someone's background, understanding of how the town was, of why it was like that, why the runners are there in the first place. I also want to know more about Jackknife, actually. I want to know how he was a runner and now he wasn't. It's one of those things that I find to be very impressive, and I want to learn more of that stuff. So that's what I like to see is more backgrounds on the story between all the other characters, because Mirror's Edge's story was impressive. I love the conspiracy theory around it, and I love how the ending turned out. And I found it to be a little sad because everyone was pretty much dead except for Kate and Faith. Well, Sal and stuff. But also, you don't know what happened to Drake or Krieg. You don't know if they got captured or killed because of the Runners Police. Oh, that's pretty much the second talk I was talking about. The story ideas and backgrounds. There's so many different ideas that you could do with a story in Mirror's Edge, but, you know, since Mirror's Edge has one of those things where you could finish it in pretty much like 2-3 hours if you know what you're doing, I would say try to add more gameplay options. Like I said, give us a playability like a 9-mission story based around Merc and Cell and Drake and Krieg. You know, give us a background on more of the characters and stuff. That would be impressive. Side much for the replay value. This is something that people kind of concerned of, was the replay value. Because all you could do was you could finish the game, and then you could find all the bags, and then get all the achievements, and then go through the time trials, and then that was it. They did release a trials pack that included like maps that didn't look like environments you saw when you're playing the game. They just looked like a subspace area, and it was pretty impressive for what they did, and it's actually more challenging than before. But that can get boring pretty quick if you keep adding more to it. What would have made the first Mirror's Edge very impressive is, like I said, if you add a DLC that included more background about Faith, about how she was before she was today. As well, I kind of actually want to know about Kate a little bit. I want to know what I understand with her and stuff. There's a lot of stories there's a lot of backgrounds we don't know about, and I would like to figure that out because Mirror's Edge seems to be very impressive. When I played it, I have it for my computer, I have it for my Xbox. If I get a PS3, I'll happen to get that for myself. I don't care how many copies I have of it. I find it to be impressive, and I wish to see more of it. Side notes for replay value. I would like more different ideas. The time trials moment, I think if you had the tools to do so, and I know this is kind of weird to say it, if you had the tools to do so and you could create a very easy community form for players to understand and do to make really great things, you could possibly add a map creator or a generator for time trials. And I'm not saying like something you would see that was stupid, kind of like Tony Hawk did it, because Tony Hawk's, I know that's an old game, but Tony Hawk's level designer is so basic, it's hard to really create anything amazing like when you're playing through the main mode, the main campaign, I guess you can say. But if you give us, you know, the ability to somehow create stuff, give us a setting. Is it on top of rooftops? Is it underground? Is it in a sewer system? Is it inside a building? You know, you choose that, and then you can put wherever you want, anywhere. Balconies, bridges, you know, and then where the points will be and how to end to it. Yeah, I find it to be very impressive. However, I would say that the par time to get like a 3-star, I don't know how that would be generated. I don't know if you guys have a tracking system that knows how to track it and make sure people can get a 3-star on it. Make sure it does not interfere with achievements if you do bring back the time trial. A good community for it, that would be awesome. This is one thing I don't really want to really say much, but this is something I kind of have an idea about. Ubisoft did this with Splinter Cell Conviction, which I find to be impressive, which was Splinter Cell Conviction. You had a single-player story mode based on Sam Fisher, and then you had a co-op story which took place a week before Sam Fisher's or like a month or something before Sam Fisher's story. And they're completely separate, with one single-player and one is co-op. That's impressive. This is what I actually would like to see in Mirror's Edge. Single-player have like Faith, Cell, Merc story, and then in a two-player co-op, add a special background where the two players has to communicate of passing the bags and avoiding the blues or something, and it has to do with the main storyline. If you guys do that, that would bring the replay value really up there, and I think a lot of people would be spending more time with it through their PCs, PS3s, and their Xbox 360s if the game does come out by the time those consoles still exist. I kind of had more ideas for replay value, but as of right now, that's all I can think of. DLCs from them all, yeah. DLCs for everything. For campaigns, more campaign stuff, more creative ideas, more time trials. The ability for people to make their own stuff would be nice. Now, when I say DLCs for time trials, don't just make the maps that probably someone could just recreate in the creator station if you do make that. Actually add more emphasis, I think that's the word to use for them. Basically, it's like, oh, we're going to add these 5 new backgrounds and 2 tracks for each one. And if you buy the DLC, you not only will get those, you also have those backgrounds for your own creative event. Basically, you know, you didn't have these before, but if you buy this DLC, now you can create maps using these 5 new areas that you purchased. That would actually bring a lot more replay value and a reason to purchase those time trials. I would purchase them myself for $10. Let's see what else there. Oh, one thing I do not want to see, I do actually want to say this. One thing I do not want to see at all, because I knew it probably won't work as well, and it might be an experiment for maybe a later date, but it's not going to work well. Do not add a sort of runners versus blues system. Do not add a multiplayer where it's a versus system. You could add a multiplayer thing where runners have to collect bags, and whoever has the most bags or something in a certain amount of time wins, or you get points for that sort of thing. That type of multiplayer might work on under a basis, it looks like. And if you have skins for all the characters and then just create random characters, or you could have the ability to create your own runner, which I think that would be a lot hard to do, and plus a lot of options you might have to put into it, which I totally understandable. But that sort of system might work for a 4-player versus where you like have to, you know, get the bags, get the items and stuff, and maybe you have NPC blues coming around where you have to take care of them or something. That would probably be okay for a multiplayer, but do not make it where players can play as blues versus players that are runners. It's going to be so unbalanced beyond belief, because AI's aiming is kind of bad, and if you put a player, their aiming is not going to be bad, and that's going to screw people over. So that's that there. New characters. That's the thing I was talking about, is that if you can add any more characters to them. Now, of course, if you can try to explain their background, but not in a huge 10-minute detailed scene, that would be nice, but I would like to see some new characters about their runners and stuff. I actually do have my own idea for a new character that gets in, which I don't want to give it out because I have my own fanfic mind. I can say whatever the heck I want, but it's not like I'm going to release it to the internet or something. But it's just my idea I have that happens 5 years after the events in the first one, and Jackknife and everything. And all I can say is I had the idea that Jackknife survived the fall, which sounds totally unrealistic, but you never know what's down there. You never know if someone was down there to save him in the first place. You don't know if Jackknife maybe had more conspiracy tangled around, and that's something I just had an idea of to create more of it. The real reasons of runners. I want to know this will be nice as like a pre-order gift, because I would do it, is add a really good detail book about the runners, what they are, why do they do it, how long have they been there, how many have been registered there, and you know, how many are their secret bases, because I don't think Merc would be the only operator. I actually have an idea for another, you know, for an operator, for my own idea, basically. I have actually an idea where there's another operator in different parts of the town, because the town is really big if you look at the game. So, you know, to me it seems like Merc was the leader and kind of an operator, which would be nice for people who, you know, can't run or something. It would be cool if they were operators or something like that. Bring the music more. That sounds like weird when I said it, but basically I want the music back. The music from Mirror's Edge was absolutely amazing. It set the tone. It wasn't always rocky music. It was very ambient, and and Lisa's, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's like Miss Kavochi. I'm sorry if I pronounce it, but Lisa M, Still Alive, beautiful song. The best type of theme song I've ever heard for this type of game. It's not a rockin' tune, it's not like some, basic tune. It makes perfect sense of basically what Faith says, the flow. Just go with the flow, the movement of running. And if you ever done parkour, which I've done a few times but not expertly, it's a lot of fun, and that music really brings it to life. That's the music I want back in Mirror's Edge 2. Because it made the perfect layout. And like, there's the normal songs, then there's the puzzle tunes, and then there's the action tunes. And now the puzzle should be the very ambient style, and then the action should obviously have some sort of rocking type tune to it, which makes perfect sense. We've already had remixes of Still Live by Paul Van Dyke, Benny Bassini, I think the guy's name like Teddy Bears, and 2 other artists. It's already been remixed. I want to remix once I get my kits in, and I don't know when I'll be able to get those. So, really, it's huge. I find it to be very impressive on the music, and that's one key element that brings Mirror's Edge to life for me, in my opinion. So I would like to see that music back. And the last one, I guess I wrote down story notes, and I'm just going to skip that because all my ideas for stories are just my ideas, and if EA does steal them for me or something, I don't care as long as it's for a good cause. I'm very impressed with Mirror's Edge. I am happy to actually purchase it for $60 when it came out. I wish I pre-ordered it. I really do. I wish I pre-ordered it for the Xbox because I do want to get that bag. But, of course, I was a little skeptical. But because Mirror's Edge I found to be so successful, and I don't know if EA thinks that. I mean, of course, I wouldn't know because I don't know their business. But I find Mirror's Edge to be very successful. And if they bring more to the table for Mirror's Edge 2, I think it would kick off really good as a series. And if I'm wrong, then I guess Mirror's Edge is dead, and I'm just the only fan here who thinks this. So, I guess that's all I can really say. I have a lot to say about Mirror's Edge. I find it to be a very impressive game. I love it a lot, and I really wish they didn't say it was canceled, but they probably put it back on the table once Battlefield 3 is out of the edge, which I can't wait for Battlefield 3, baby! So, I'll see you guys later, and have a great day, and I still can't figure out what to say as an ending off. See ya.